For a startling reason, the priest refused to preside at the child's funeral. Hello there, everyone. We're here with another interesting video from Web Stories. You don't miss anything. The priest refused to celebrate the kid's funeral. The reason why is shocking. Throughout the world, things occur on a daily basis that cannot be explained logically. Some refer to it as a remarkable coincidence, while others refer to it as a miracle. However, the reality is that we don't know everything there is to know about the world, the possibility that the unexpected healings are the consequence of supernatural intervention. One of the residents of Russia posted a tale on the internet about something that occurred to him. It's very amazing. What happened while visiting the temple for prayer? The little kid was witness to an odd occurrence that occurred during his visit. A young woman requested that a priest officiate at the funeral service for her son, who had died shortly after delivery. The priest, on the other hand, was adamant in his refusal to cooperate. That there's a cause for this is rather startling in this way. The guy narrated everything that happened. "Hello, my name's Sasha, and I'm from Russia. I live in a little village with my family. We don't even have a signal here, so we have to rely on landlines to communicate with others, or we have to walk onto the roof of an old state agricultural farm in order to try to obtain a signal from up there. It irritates me that people are sending rockets all over the world and even to Mars, but we here are unable to make a phone call to our loved ones. We're grateful that we have access to the internet. Unfortunately, my parents have never entertained the notion of leaving the house. They're extremely elderly and are unable to contemplate living in a larger metropolis for a long time. I couldn't accept it, but after some time I decided to stay in this nation as well. I'm still living with them, and it's been tough to find a job in this town recently. I had an experience that was completely out of the ordinary, and I want to share it with you. But let's take it one step at a time. The fact that I was living in the country until lately was due to my attraction to my next-door neighbor's daughter. I had attempted to befriend her since I was a youngster, and I had hoped for something more in the future. She, on the other hand, rejected my plans for a long time. However, after some time passed, we became a couple, young and gorgeous people. On the other hand, can pull it off. We went on walks together, held hands, and shared a lot of sexual delights with each other. We had a nice connection despite the fact that it was primarily physical. I didn't have much to talk about with her, which was really a good thing for me because I'm not a very chatty person in general. I was really taken by surprise once my girlfriend Lena invited me over to her place for supper and said something very unexpected. She stated that she'd been in town for an abortion just a few days prior. As soon as I heard this, I became quite agitated. She didn't tell me she was pregnant because she didn't want me to find out. Why she didn't come to me and tell me about it, perhaps we could have handled the entire thing in a different way. When I inquired as to why she'd failed to inform me that she was carrying my child, she simply grinned and answered, "How do you know it's your child?" What, as a result of the meal, I came to the conclusion that she's not the girl for me. She deceived me, or perhaps she was simply behaving in that manner. It didn't make much of a difference for me. I grew up in a family with strong Christian values and traditions. Something like that would be impossible for me to accept. Lena was a far cry from my mother's vision of what a perfect lady should be. I was really dissatisfied with the entire scenario as a result. I chose to attend church. Visiting this location on a regular basis helps me to relax. I was kneeling beside the pew talking to God when I inquired as to whether something like this was taking place. After all, a kid is the common fruit of a man and a woman's love for one another. My opinion is that a girl who does not want to have a child should give birth to one and give it to her husband who will raise it. I was really upset by the entire scenario, not just because Lena's decision went against my values, but also because I was upset with myself. It also hurt me to think that she might not be completely devoted to me. As a result, there are several men in the community who would be delighted at the opportunity to provide care for this young woman. She was very beautiful and a slender woman. During my prayer, though, I was interrupted by an altercation. After further investigation, it was discovered that a young woman was chatting to the priest while standing near a tiny casket. I knew right away that the girl was going through a terrible ordeal and that her small baby had to be taken to the angels, and now she'll have to bury it on her own time. Most likely, her lover abandoned her with her pregnant tummy and never talked to her again. However, I must say that despite the tragedy that befell her, I had a strong affection for this young lady. I was amazed by her strength and the fact that she was able to carry the pregnancy to term and give birth to the kid despite the difficulties. I approached the priest and inquired as to what was going on. According to what transpired, he did not want to plan a Catholic burial for this child because the infant had not yet been christened. The woman begged the priest for assistance, but he remained defiantly silent. My attention was suddenly drawn to the hand. I saw something extremely frightening about it. Seems to me that the infant who was lying there moved its hand in some way instantaneously. I rushed up to the tiny little one and took his pulse, despite the fact that I'm not a doctor and have no knowledge on the subject. I realized right away that the kid was still alive. I was able to reestablish the baby's respiration after administering CPR on him. However, you're undoubtedly curious as to what transpired and why the infant was still alive at this point. It turned out that this woman couldn't handle the thought of being alone with him for long periods of time as a result of her father's disappearance. The toddler's parents were embarrassed of her and kicked her out of the house. The mom administered tranquilizer to the toddler in order to keep her calm and then desired to eliminate the problem in this manner. It's a good thing the priest didn't allow her to attend the funeral, if it was because the infant had not been christened or whether it was some sort of supernatural intervention. I'm unable to say for certain. The reality of the matter is that it was a genuine miracle. Fortunately, the infant was spared from certain death. After that, I brought the girl and the baby back with me to my house. I made the decision to look after them. I had a strong attraction to the girl and didn't mind that she was the mother of a child I recognized that she needed assistance at this time. After several hours of talking, the young lady finally opened up and shared details of her life and difficulties with me, and she expressed her gratitude for me for interfering in this situation. That night, we grew increasingly close to one another and eventually fell asleep together. Since then, we've grown into a pair. We've been together for a little over a year at this point, Nasha and Dmitri, the youngest, for the next several months. We became a true family unit. We did, however, have to put up with insults from our neighbors for far too long. They all channeled via Dmitri from the bastards as well as through me and my family. Eventually, though, they came to a different conclusion. They were grateful that I'd taken care of a girl in need and had welcomed her child as my own child. We're overjoyed right now. In addition, I just reconnected with my ex-girlfriend Lena. As it turns out, she's having difficulty coping with life as a result of what she's done. In the community where she's well known for her desire for money, she's transformed herself into, to put it gently, a lady of the night. Manners, and she serves the men who come to her seeking assistance, and for whom her wives are insufficient nausea. And Dmitri brought me much joy, and I'll be eternally grateful to God for bringing them into my life in such an unexpected way. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell to be notified when a new video is uploaded.